tutti amici di GroovePortal, siamo qui a Stazione Birra per intervistare Gavin Harrison. Hi Gavin.
Hey, how you doing? Good.
Thanks for this interview. We are really proud to have you for this video interview for GroovePortal. So, the first question. This is your first show in Rome with this new project.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to talk about this project, how it born?
Sure. 5 years ago, I met Rick on MySpace. Remember MySpace?
Yeah, I remember. It's a long time ago.
Vintage internet. And, you know, I have a lot of strange drum ideas. Not all of them are commercial. Some I try with porcupine tree, and some I never found a good place or a good collaborator to work with. And I met Rick, and so we decided to make a collaboration. I send him the strange drum rhythms. I play a little bit of bass, a little bit of guitar, and then Rick, you know, turned them into songs. And I wanted them to be songs and not instrumental, because for me instrumental was a different area which I didn't want to go into, a more musician area, you know, more kind of a technique kind of thing, and that's fine, but I didn't feel like I wanted to do that thing. But I wanted to have a band with a singer, because I like songs, I like melodies. Okay. I like to play for melodies. I don't really want to play just fast, you know, fusion kind of music. So that's how I met Rick. We started to change files on the internet, and we made the first record in 2007, the second record in 2009, and then the third record last year. And Rick said we should play live, and I said, you know, it's impossible. It's too difficult. But we have 3 records, so maybe 30 songs. Maybe we can find 15, 16, 17 songs that we can play. And I said, I think it's too difficult. And Rick was living in Cambridge, and he was working with Justin Dwyer, the guitarist, and Tiago Coimbra, the bass player. So they tried, without me, they tried to 2 or 3 songs to see if it worked. And then they came to my studio and we played. It sounded great. So we decided to make a live band to play this very difficult music. And so this is the first time outside of the UK. We did a UK tour last year, a very short one, and this is the first time across, you know, in Italy, in Germany, in Austria, in Holland, that we're making some live shows.
Yeah, and finally here in Rome.
And finally in Rome, a city I've been many, many times before. I played the Stadio Olimpico in 1998.
Yeah. With Mauro Borioni.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw the videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Direct in TV. That show,
yeah.
High pressure, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Next question. The two prefaces of 2 of your books are written by Bill Bruford and Billy Coleman.
Yeah.
What do you think you have in common with them, and why did you choose them for?
I chose them because they're both called Bill. No, I chose them because I'm a friend of Bill Bruford.
Okay.
I know Bill Bruford for maybe 20, 25 years. And so when I wrote the first book, Bill was very encouraging, because he likes this kind of rhythmic manipulation idea, right? With King Crimson, double drumming. And he liked the idea of something that was nearly all coming from here, right? And not from here.
Yeah, from fast and stuff.
Yeah, just from speed and super chops.
Yeah.
This is all... Nothing is difficult to play in these books, but it's difficult to think about. You know what I mean? It doesn't require any speed or any technique, but you've got to think. And so Bill Bruford was the perfect choice for the first book, and a friend of mine put me in contact with Billy Cobham, and he seemed like the right kind of drummer to write the prefix for the second book. Maybe you could get the wrong kind of drummer to write for the type of book.
Yeah.
But they're both pioneer, they've evolved drumming in their own way, with Billy Cobham and playing in Maravishnu, and the things that he did after that, and the things that Bill Bruford has played, especially King Crimson and his own band Earthworks. They're evolutionary drummers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So they seem like the perfect guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
When he asked you about Bill Bruford, you talked about the ideas and not the physical concept about this drumming.
Yeah.
When I see your videos on YouTube, for me, and I think also for all the rest of the world, it's incredible to see how you play relaxed, the displacement, the rhythms.
Right.
So, in your opinion, to play these beats really relaxed, it's better to study first with the mind or practicing along on the drum set?
You have to be able to hear the rhythms or sing them. If you can't hear them or sing them, reading them on the page will mean nothing. And I try to take influence from Steve Gadd and try to play everything as relaxed as I can.
Yeah.
Even if it's complicated, even if it's in 17/16 and it's groupings of 5 or something weird, I still, with the same mentality, I still think about Steve Gadd and how laid back and relaxed he would play. I think you just play better when you're relaxed.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound better when you're tight and, that doesn't sound better.
Yeah, because one of the first things that a person could see in your videos is the high quality of the sound. It's all relaxed, sounds of fields, grooves, everything sounds really clean and relaxed.
Great.
And about these things, he has a good question about sound and microphones.
I want to know, how do you treat the sound of your drums, from tuning to mix?
Right. Well, I get a drum sound that I know sounds good with the microphones. So when I'm at home in my studio, I've got these in-ear monitors and then shooting headphones on top.
Okay.
So I'm really deaf, completely deaf. I can only hear the sound of the microphone. So I adjust the drum and the pitch to sound good to the microphone. Maybe after I've made all these adjustments, I take off the in-ears, I play the drum and think, doesn't sound so good acoustically.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter, because it's important that it sounds good in the microphone.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's like understanding how a camera lens works. If you look at something, you think, that looks amazing, and then you look at it through the camera, and it doesn't look amazing through the camera, you need to change the parameters. If it looks great through the camera, this is what people are going to see, is the camera. People only hear me through microphones. Whether you hear the show tonight is through the microphones. Whether you see me with Porcupine Tree, it's through the microphones. You hear me on a record, it's through the microphones.
Yeah.
So I have to become good friends with the microphones.
Okay.
I have to really understand the microphones and how they hear, because they're not human ears. If you put your ear this far away from my snare drum and I go bah like that, this will be very painful to you.
Yeah, I think so.
And it won't sound good. Nobody puts an ear this far from the toms and this far from the snare drum and then one underneath and then your head inside the bass drum. You're not dealing with human ears, you're dealing with microphones. And you need to understand how the microphone hears. And it's not in a human way, it's in an electronic way. And some microphones, like the ones I'm using tonight, the Sennheiser 421s, They work in a different way to the microphones I use at home, which are AKG 414 I use on the toms. And also for me it's a evolving process. When I listen back to the drum sounds of 10 years ago and the drum sounds I have now, is better, in my opinion. It's improving. And luckily I have a studio at home where I can make experiments. So I take the snare drum, I put an SM57, SM58, AKG C414, Sennheiser 421, Royer 122, AKG C12, every microphone I have in the studio, I put it on the snare drum, you know, play a little bit, and then I have all the tracks on the computer, and I can listen carefully. Don't worry about the price. Don't think this microphone is 5,000 euros. It must be better than this microphone, which is only €50. Forget the brand, you know, Neumann or you know, some big names, because sometimes they don't sound better. So you need to find what you think is the best snare drum sound from all these microphones. And having a studio at home gives me that opportunity. The same thing with drum skins, the same thing with sticks, same thing with the bass drum beater. I test different beaters. You know, I can get 30 bass drum beaters and play boom boom bat, boom boom bat, boom boom bat, boom boom bat. Okay, change the beater. Next beater is I don't know, Sona beater. Put that in, boom boom bat, boom boom bat, and listen. You can hear a difference. There's a difference between every beater. And then I choose the beater that I think sounds right for me, for the sound I'm trying to get. So it's very scientific, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And also, I mean, there's so many things you can do inside the computer with EQ, with phase reversal, with compression, with reverb. There's a million things you can do to change the sound. And that's a very complicated process. You know, it's never the same really twice. But I try to get the drums to sound good, and I try to make them sound good with the microphone first. Then I don't have to do a lot, because every time you change the EQ, you're really changing a lot of things in the drum. And when I hit the snare drum, all these mics can hear the snare drum. Okay? So if I hit the snare drum and on the 8, 10, 12, I've put a lot of high EQ, suddenly the snare drum sounds different. It's very bright because it's in the snare drum mic and it's also in all the other mics. So when you have 16 microphones around a drum kit, there's a lot of different situations going on. So you want to do very small amounts of EQ on anything. If you go more than 6 dB, the drum is wrong. If you have to go more than 6 dB, then I change the microphone or change the skin or change the tuning, because more than 6 dB is going to affect the other sounds. It's going to ruin the overheads, or it's going to ruin the bass drum, or it's going to ruin the snare drum. You see what I mean?
Okay.
It's a really big process. Being an engineer is a big process. It takes a long time to learn, and I'm still learning all the time. Every new album is a new experience, you know.
Okay. Some advice about your latest DVD book, Rhythmic Designs.
Some advice? Yeah, go and buy it.
Advice about studying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just transcriptions, very good transcriptions by Terry Branham, and you know, it's about the first 2 records of me and Rick. So it's very detailed. You know, there's a lot of study you'd have to do to understand it.
Okay.
Great.
And next question, what about playing with the great King Crimson and Robert Fripp, and what about the 2 albums with the OSI?
2 albums with OSI, yeah. I mean, they were just... The funny thing is, I never met Kevin Moore, and I never met Jim Matteos.
Oh, really?
I never even spoke with them on the phone. Not weird. That's a reflection of how, you know, sometimes you work like that. It isn't necessary that I meet Kevin and Jim. It's not necessary for the music. We have a good understanding on email, and I do things and I send them and they send it back and say, we like this, we don't like this, can we change this? I think it's really good stuff. I enjoy the records.
Yeah.
Very nice music, possibly heavier than Porcupine Tree and probably heavier than most things I do. I don't really play that much heavy rock anymore, you know. The stuff I do with Rick isn't heavy, but I enjoy it. I like it.
And what about
King Crimson?
King Crimson?
Yeah, that was a fantastic experience. At the moment, there's no more King Crimson.
Okay. And do you want to speak about the Scarcity of Miracles in particular?
Yeah, I mean that was a very nice record, which is a collaboration with Jacko Jackjig, who's a very old friend of mine, and I've been in different bands with Jacko and Robert Fripp and Mel Collins. So they asked me and Tony Levin to play on the record. So it was yeah, okay, why not?
Okay. And you spoke about the relax when you play. It also came from your grip.
Yeah, possibly. I have a funny grip. I grip, you know, with this, and my left hand, the grip starts here, so it's very open.
Oh, okay.
This is kind of Tony Williams style.
Okay.
Gary Husband does the same thing. It's like this. I mean, yes, I'm holding it, but the real grip is here.
Okay.
And that affects the sound of the snare drum.
Yeah.
Because the stick is not vibrating. It's not like if you hold the stick like this. It's really tight in there. But then you get a good, consistent rim shot.
Mm-hmm.
This hand, I only really use these 3 fingers. I don't use this one very much. It's not very match grip. But they don't do the same job.
Yeah.
I don't go, you know, where it has to be perfectly even. This probably does 6 times more work than this.
Yeah.
They're doing 2 different jobs. They don't need to be the same. You know, that's why this works well too. Because you're not playing, you know, you know, it doesn't have to be,
Okay.
I don't need to play even notes. I never play, you know, I don't play even notes anyway. I wouldn't play even notes. So they can be 2 different jobs and 2 different grips. This is just the most comfortable for playing rim shot for me.
Okay.
Other people, you know, it's a personal thing, right?
And you also make this movement, this rotation of the wrist when you beat.
Do I?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I can see that I hold the stick like very at the back, completely at the very, very back of the stick. The back of the stick is here. I mean, literally ends here. And the back of the stick in the left hand is here. There's nothing here
Okay.
or here. I hold them right at the back. Probably some teachers would say this is wrong.
No. It's
I don't care. It
it's
feels good to me, right?
Yeah.
It feels good to me, so sometimes I see guys saying you should hold the sticks like that, and then when you see them play on a video, they're not holding the sticks like that. I've seen myself on video. I can stop the computer and I can see where the stick finishes, so I know where the grip is, you know.
Okay, thank you.
So Gavin, thank you so much for this amazing interview.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy the
Thank
show.
you, Gavin.
Thanks very much.
Ciao a tutti amici, vogliamo ringraziare per questa intervista lo staff di Stazione Birra, Jacopo Coretti che si è occupato di tutta l'organizzazione e ovviamente Gavin Harrison.
Thank you.